Welcome to another edition of the Chicks on the Right podcast. Today, we're very excited because we have a very popular sports and fitness instructor, but also more recently political influencer with us, whose videos we have shared many, many times with you, our audience. It's Becky Weiss is joining us today. She's got a huge social media following. We're super excited to have you and very, very curious, Becky, how this version of you has come to be, that you are now a political influencer, whether you like that term or not.
Yeah, well,
influencer, yes.
I can't even use that term. I always feel cringy. The term influencer is so odd to me, but fantastic to be here. First and foremost, thank you both for having me on. I'm excited to sit down, chit chat for a little bit, but yeah, how the heck did I wind up here? Because, for the longest time, I was just doing sports nutrition, personal training, and then suddenly, on accident, basically, I became a political influencer. But if we trace it all the way back, it really starts with all the gay stuff that was going on, and that's where we got started.
And I saw a video that you did. It was around, you were talking about the summer of 2022 regarding children. And it was something that I think your son was talking to you about how he liked flowers and a hat. And he was like, Mommy, I think I may be a girl, or I want to be a girl. And then you guys had a conversation. And so that conversation was sort of a pivotal moment for you. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. That is where it truly all started for me. So I had gotten a little political before that, back in the previous summer, whenever mandatory vaccinations were the talk of the town. And I saw the gay community rallying for forced vaccinations. And I was like, pump the brakes. This does not make any sense. Like the crowd that fights for bodily autonomy, hands off my body, government, my body, my choice. And you're sitting here saying, no, listen to the government, take the vaccine. I was like, that's crazy. So I called them out for that, but it really kicked off, yes, in the summer of 2022, that specific story you're referencing there. One day, me and my son, we went to the pool during the summertime. We came home. We were reading some books with each other. And in the book, there was this character with a pony in it. And the pony has a straw hat. It's like on a farm, right? And the hat has all these flowers. And my son, in all the innocence of a little tiny 3-year-old, says, Mama, I want to be a girl. And I was like, normally you would just brush that off. But I was so aware of the social environment, kind of what was happening out there. So it actually, I took a step back for a second. At first, I told him no. I was like, well, no, you're not a girl. You're not going to be a girl. But, what makes you say that? And again, he's 3 years old, innocent as can be. And he's like, well, I want to wear a hat with flowers on it. And I was like, you can wear a hat with flowers on it, baby.
Totally. Yeah.
Lots of boys like flowers. Flowers are for everybody. And if you like flowers, you can like flowers. That doesn't make you a girl. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. And then it was done. But then I decided to, for whatever reason, open my phone and start talking about it. I got on Instagram and I was like, check this out, because I knew the social landscape, and there were so many parents out there who were so confused, who felt like they couldn't speak on it, or they didn't know how to speak on it. They felt like if they spoke against it, that they were transphobic or homophobic. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gay, so I get a pass here. Not that anyone needs a pass per se, but I was like, you know what? I'm the person to talk. So I just talked about it. I was like, hey, parents, this is how I navigated that conversation. And at the time I had 2,000 followers, and I didn't expect it to go anywhere. And then it just took off from there.
Yeah.
And your social media following now is ginormous, and the videos that you put, you do a lot of content. I think my favorites personally are when it's like you versus you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love those. And I think that's the format of the one that you did recently on the SAVE Act, which of course is getting a lot of attention right now. Talk a little bit about that, because that was a really, really good one.
Yeah. So, I appreciate the compliment first and foremost. Thank you. I really enjoy doing those back and forth videos, because, just getting on there and yelling about stuff, that doesn't really go anywhere. And it's very important to take a step back and understand, okay, what are their concerns and how would I address this? Going way back to that first video, here's how I had the conversation. So not that everyone is as reasonable as I am. Whenever I'm doing my back and forth, I'm a very reasonable person in those scenarios.
But, with yourself.
Very reasonable with myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, the SAVE Act is super interesting, and that's been getting a lot of attention. Women are freaking out, thinking they're going to lose their right to vote. Have you guys been seeing that?
Oh my God, totally. Yeah, because we're too stupid to get ID. Didn't you hear that?
It's such an insult.
We're idiots.
When they're all like, oh my God, 80 million women are going to lose their rights. Yeah. And I'm like, I actually know how to have documentation. Surprise.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to that whole, you know, they have always said that Black people can't get IDs, that, you know, any people of color, any Hispanics, they can't get It's so demeaning. I don't understand how they think this is a winning strategy for them. But women buy it. Women are running around going, I can't do this. They got signs, they're protesting. I mean, how is this empowering for women to latch onto this and think that this is an okay thing to, you know, hitch your wagon? I just don't get it. I don't understand.
Right. I mean, they're all like girl bosses, but it's like, girl boss, you can't find your identification. Like, we can't get that paperwork together. Come on now. But it was like just right before we hopped on here, I saw this video and this guy was literally just saying married women are going to lose their right to vote. It's about registering to vote. You don't have to show up to the polls with your birth certificate, sweetheart. Like, you just, you know, whenever you register, that's what it is, which is super reasonable.
Yeah, it's fear mongering.
Everybody what's crazy is when I see conservatives who are freaking out about this too, that are just like, it's like this huge invasion of privacy and I shouldn't have to show all this documentation. I'm like, if you're online, the government already knows everything about you. You know what I mean? Like, the jig is up. Everybody knows everything there is about you already. So the outrage has been absolutely crazy. You being gay has got, like you said, you've got a little bit of credibility. Like, there's built-in credibility when you talk about some of the LGBTQ issues, and particularly the radical ideology. What's been the backlash from that community with some of the work that you're doing?
Yeah, so most of them, they call me a TERF. They say I have internalized homophobia and an internalized transphobia. They say, like, they're always like, oh, look at this pick me. We don't claim her. And I'm like, cool, I don't claim you either. Like, get out of here. But we'll say this, it's a hive mind. And if you are not in lockstep with the ideology of the day, they want to slaughter you. And like, so it was really scary at first. I got a lot of attacks at first, a lot of people coming after me at first, but kind of the more it got rolling and the bigger my presence got, the better I got at presenting my point of view, being able to talk through things in an eloquent manner. They've really quieted down a lot, I will say. They don't chirp at me as much, but it's certainly still there. Like, sometimes I open my phone, I'll get on Instagram on my explore page and I'm like, oh, there's my face. And it's some liberal using my video, just like going off about something that I'm talking about.
Trying to tear you apart. Yeah.
Yeah. The backlash, it's not been as bad as you might have expected, but every step of the way, I didn't mind taking it, because me going and doing that alongside a very small group of other gay creators, like, it was tiny at first and it was scary. It was just a small group of us, and we got the brunt of the heat. But as we kept going, more and more people started speaking out. More like normal gay people, gay conservatives were like coming out of the closet that they're conservative, you know? And doing that work has really empowered a lot of the gay community to step outside of the hive mind and out of that lockstep ideology and be like, hey, you know what? I actually don't stand for this. And they're starting to speak up more and more. So we're seeing this huge revolution within the LGBTQ community where it's really splitting apart at the seams, which I think is good. You have this radical ideology crowd, and then you have the crowd that's just like, hey, I love this country. I love this land. I just want to live my life. Like, let me get married, but like, we can just be chill with each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's kind of like how it used to be. I mean, they want to put you in a compartmentalized box. They do that just with women in general, because we got it when we started the whole Chicks on the Right thing, 14, 15 years ago. And so they don't like women being conservative. They don't like gay people being conservative. They don't like Black people, Hispanic. They want certain people to be in certain boxes. And when you don't stay in your box, they get really pissed off. They don't like you. So I'm curious, how do you feel about, on the flip side, because you have a son, if you had a daughter, I'm just curious how you would feel about, the tomboy issue. Because I feel like tomboys are disappearing now. Like I was kind of a tomboy, but I'm not gay. But I feel like and I know that there are a lot of girls that I went to school with growing up. Some were tomboys and they ended up straight. Some were tomboys, they ended up gay. Like, I'm curious how you feel about that, because I feel like the tomboy is like endangered. Because of that mentality that you were talking about with your son. I'm just curious how you feel about that.
Yeah, no, we are an endangered species officially. We're on the list because they're transing all of them. They're telling all these girls who are more like myself, maybe a little bit more tomboyish, that they were born in the wrong bodies. And it's like, oh, they say like gender is a construct. Gender roles are made up. Gender is not real. But then if you don't perfectly align, then you're the wrong gender. And, they try to play both sides at the same time, which doesn't really make sense. Now, I don't know if I would necessarily be any different if I had a daughter as opposed to a son. Like, if she was a little tomboy, sweet, cool. Like, I'm going to tell her that she's beautiful and that she's made in the image of God and she's perfect the way she is. And if she wants to be a little tomboy, by all means, be a little tomboy. But that doesn't mean that there's something inherently wrong with you. I'm so thankful that I did not grow up in this social environment because, I was able just to grow up and figure it out. And then now here I am at 31 years old, fully secure in who I am as a human being, So I don't know if I would necessarily have any different approach if I had a daughter, but I do a lot of what I do on social media, hopefully to be representation for these young girls. Like, oh, I can just grow up to be like, a somewhat masculine woman, and that's totally cool. I don't have to chop off my body parts and inject myself with hormones. I can just live my life. You know what I'm saying? And
it's great too, because I know that they're like, I was going to ask too how old you were because I have no idea. I can't tell because sometimes you just can't. Some people just have baby faces.
When you're old, everyone looks way younger.
Right. I know. We're just old. But so you're basically a millennial. I have kids who are around your age. And so I'm sure, it was different growing up for you than it was, say, like in our generation. Because, you could just be a tomboy and that's just the way it was. And I don't know, you probably missed like a lot of the crazy because nowadays, like the Gen Zers, it is a little bit different, for them. But it is nice to see women like you who are out there and you're talking about this kind of stuff. And, you are a role model for girls who are out there or women who are out there who are gay, who are like, you know what, I'm conservative and I'm gay and I can be both. You know what I mean?
I'm curious actually about if that was, because we've heard from other gay people that it's much harder to come out as conservative than it is to come out as gay. Has that been your experience?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little spooky. I won't lie. And I did, my coming out was in the summer of 2021. Like, I could not have picked a more volatile social landscape to be like, hey, you know what? I am like a patriot here. But it was super scary at the time. But, the more of us that exist, the easier it becomes for everyone else just to kind of join ranks and come out of the closet per se. And, just say, I love this country. I love, this side of things. I'm right leaning and that's okay. I don't have to fully agree with everything that the LGBTQ crowd is doing, which is mostly gross,
Do you feel like you've been embraced by conservatives, or do you feel like because there's that stigma attached to conservatives where people on the left will say, oh my gosh, they hate gay people. What have you encountered with the conservative community?
Yeah, I haven't seen that whatsoever. And I still get that comment to this day. I'll open it up and I'll be like, they hate you, right? You know that you're next. They're going to come for you next. And I was like, what? They love me. Like, what are you talking about? I've never met a conservative person who legitimately just hates gay people. I'm sure they exist. I'm sure there's some people out there. There's extremism on both ends of the spectrum. But everyone's super chill with me. I went to President Trump's inauguration. I was surrounded by the most conservative of conservatives, and everyone was super cool. So,
oh my God, what was that like?
It was awesome.
Was that fun?
Yeah, it was a great time. It was crazy. There were so many people there. It was freezing, lots of standing outside in lines, but it was a really cool time.
Yeah. That's really fun.
That's really cool that you got to do that.
It's funny because I had a conversation with a friend of mine a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I wouldn't care if my kids, because we have 3 kids, I wouldn't care if my kids were gay, but I would be so devastated if they were liberal.
It's so true. So true.
Yeah.
It is. It's the
because
truth.
Liberal kids cut off their conservative parents, which is so interesting.
Yes.
You don't see
you go no contact.
Right.
I mean, you need to use the proper terminology. It's going no contact.
It would break my heart if any of my kids were liberal.
Can't imagine.
I can't either. I know. It would be terrible.
I feel like some other. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like most kids will go through like somewhat of a liberal phase. Like I went through a liberal phase when I was in college, and then I rejoined the real world because college is an echo chamber. And when you're in college, you are not in the real world. People in college think like socialism is the best idea ever, and like universal basic income should exist. And whenever you're there and you're poor and you're still stupid, you're like, that sounds great.
What did you study in college?
I actually have a marketing degree that I don't use at all. So.
Right. We all have degrees that we don't use. Right.
You could probably finagle some sort of way that you're using it. I mean, like you're marketing your ideas.
That's true.
That's something.
That is very, very true.
Who are some other, because there's a lot of people, everybody knows the prominent names that are pushing back against the transing, to use your word, of kids. I mean, and trans people in sports, for example. Riley Gaines, chief among them, I'm sure that you know of her. Are there other influencers out there that you feel are really good representatives of that cause? I know, for example, Nancy Mace is really big in that space. Who are some of the people that you look to or that you admire that are doing that same kind of, the same kind of outspoken work that they're doing to help save women's sports, girls' sports? Sports is obviously very important to you. Who in this space do you look at and think, good on them for saying the things?
Well, a really good starter would be the organization Gays Against Groomers. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with them.
We are.
Yeah, so I was one of the original members with them, and I don't do a lot with them anymore in terms of content creation, but that's probably the first place to go looking because they started in the height of whenever things were really going haywire. And that organization was founded by, Jamie and Sasha, and there are a lot of other good people in there. There's a girl by the name of Ariel. I'm going to butcher her last name, Sacrella. I could probably look and check.
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking. I'm so sorry, Ariel, if you hear this. Ariel's good. There's a girl who I really like. Her name is Mickey. She goes by the Political Mixter on Instagram. She's a lot of fun. She's big in the Save the Tomboy space. Me and her, we chit chat. We're friends, but she's super similar to me. She's just way younger. She's almost a decade younger than me. She's young. She's on top of things. She's very into politics. Who happens to be a lesbian and a conservative, and she's out there fighting as well. So she's a good one.
Awesome. See, they told us that you guys didn't exist.
Right.
Forever, they said that you didn't exist. So fitness stuff. All right. It's fair to say that your fitness philosophy, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's not just about looking good. It's about feeling good and being able to move your body and do that for a very long time. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that fair? All
Absolutely.
right, because I have not reached the full level of Becky Weiss fitness. I probably am not there, but I am using a weighted vest.
Good.
Several times a week because I am old and I have, osteoporosis and whatnot. And I will say it's a game changer. The weighted vest is a game changer. So anybody out there who's watching, that is a really good thing. And it's a Becky thing. So because I see you with the weight. Now yours is a little bit heavier than mine, but I am going to work myself up to the 14-pounder. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a game changer. But would you say that weights is probably the key to longevity, and that's more so than cardio, or is it a good mix? Or what would be your recommendation, an encapsulation of a recommendation for people, women especially?
Sure. So it's definitely going to be a mixture of both. Muscle is the organ of longevity, and that is researched, that is proven. There's fantastic studies behind that. The more lean muscle tissue a person has, generally speaking, the longer they are going to live and the better quality of life they are going to carry, right? Because muscle is not just about having nice biceps and nice shoulders. Whenever you have muscle, that also means that you have stronger bones and you have stronger joints and you have a stronger heart. Whenever you're weight training, whenever you're in the gym working out, you're not just making your body look better, but from the inside out, you're making your body stronger. So devoting yourself not to having a six-pack and nice shoulders, but devoting yourself to having a strong body is literally going to elongate your life and improve your quality of life as well. Now, on the cardio side of things, you don't have to do anything crazy. I tell everyone a daily 45-minute walk. Now, if you want to split that up, do 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at lunchtime after dinner. That's fantastic. That's good for your heart. It's good for your mental health. It's good for us to get outside, get some fresh air, get some vitamin D. It's just good from an all-around health and wellness perspective. Now, Is having like nice arms awesome? Yes, absolutely. We'd love that. But more than anything, like I think about, okay, whenever I am a grandmother, when my son has children, I want to be on the floor playing. I want to go to the zoo. I want to be able to do things. And that starts now, but it's also never too late to start. You know, if you're in your 40s or your 50s and you're just getting started, now is a great time to start. And you can make so much change in such a short amount of time, not by doing anything crazy, but just by nourishing your body well, eating enough to support your body. Get outside, go for a walk, and then pick up some weights 3 or 4 times a week. That's a really good starting point.
And I don't see you pushing I don't see you pushing a diet like a paleo, keto, you know, vegetarian, anything like that. It's just like whatever works for you is what works for, you know, is that, do you prescribe it?
Yes and
but you're
no.
a macro counter.
Yes, I'm a macros girl.
You're a macro
And
girl.
You know, one of my mockisms, for lack of a better word, is that sounds like a lot of work. And so, and it also sounds like it involves math. Is there something that's like easy for people that cannot do math and that don't like counting things? Is there like, are there apps that you use or that you recommend that make it all super easy? Okay.
Yeah, I actually teach this. I coach this. This is my real job in the real world, is teaching people how to nourish their body by using macros. So there are a lot of apps that exist. I teach on the First Form app and I coach through there, but you know, it's not as complicated as you might think. I always say, think of it like a simple math equation, right? Macros are a very simple math equation. Protein plus carbs plus fats equals your calories for the day. And how we balance your equation, that's going to affect your energy, your sleep, your hormones, your fat loss, your muscle growth, you know, how you feel throughout the day. And it's just a little bit of a balance work, right? Which is why having a coach helps, because it's not a lot of math. If you have an app that does it like mine, you can just scan your food. You just scan your barcode, you're good to go. It's pretty minimal effort there. But it's really helpful to have someone who's like, hey, I think we should do a little bit more of this. Maybe try this for lunch, you know, add a snack right here. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. It's interesting because I have a 15-year-old daughter and she is a state level swimmer and she does a little bit of that. Like she does the macro counting and stuff because she has to, because she's working out 3 hours a day. And so she's learned that like food is fuel. And so I'll look at her and I'm like, it does seem like a lot of work, but you know, and I'm also not working out 3 hours a day, but I see there is value to that. There is a lot of value. And if you do pay attention to what those different nutrients are going into your body, it makes a difference. It really does in performance and whatnot. So there's a lot to it. It's really interesting how you can do. Yeah, there's science, a lot of science behind it. So.
It makes a phenomenal difference. And the majority of who I coach are not like 20-something-year-olds trying to like get in a bikini this summer. Like the bulk of who I help are middle-aged women who are getting close to menopause, postmenopausal, really like women who are 30, 35 plus. Like that's my zone. It's like, okay, are we going to have a 6-pack? Maybe, maybe not. But are you going to feel better? Yes. Can we work on those hot flashes? Absolutely. Can I get you feeling confident in your shorts this summer? Heck yes, we can do that. Just better quality of life, not by doing anything crazy, but by eating good, whole, nourishing foods and just moving our body in a way that makes sense for you.
Yeah. And the occasional donut, right, Becky?
Sure. Yeah.
Just
everything
once in a while. Right.
So do you see because you mentioned that this is your real job, right? To do the instruction and the nutrition and like the fitness and all of that. Because I'm telling you, like, and you've seen your social media numbers climb. Mm-hmm. Do you think that you'll have that balance in your career henceforth and forthwith? Or do you see the political commentary becoming like overshadowing the fitness or vice versa? I'm curious about where you see this all going.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. That is just a great question. I have no idea. I love what I do. I don't see myself leaving anytime soon. Like I love coming to work. I love my coworkers. I love coaching. I love helping people. Like this like fills my cup. Like being able to see someone who's coming in and they're like, Becky, I got off my, my blood pressure medication. Becky, like I fit in this pair of shorts I haven't worn since I was, since I was 25. I'm like, that's the best feeling in the world. But also I love doing the political stuff as well. And I definitely have a knack for it. I enjoy it. I love talking about it. I love being able to take a lot of information, break it down into a simple, easy to digest piece of content so that people can understand what's going on. So what am I going to do? I have no idea. Couldn't tell you. I'm going to ride that line as long as I can.
See, that had one of those moments like where you've been recognized in public and it's been like, do you remember the first time that happened to you and what the circumstances were?
I can't say that I remember the first time. Early on, I started noticing it, and then it started picking up in frequency, and now it happens fairly often. But if I'm like at my local grocery store that's like nearby my house, I'm like, please don't tell anyone I shop here. Like keep it a secret, you know?
Yeah. But see, putting that information into like small bite-sized pieces like you do, that is your marketing degree. It is paying off. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I suppose so.
That's a good point.
No, I love
Becky,
it.
thank you so much. It's been really, really nice to get to know you, and that's something, you know, you can learn so much about a person from content videos and what you put out there. But it was nice to get a chance to chat with you personally and find out more about how this all came to be. We're really excited that you're becoming such a phenom, because we need more voices like yours.
Just super stoked for you. You deserve it. Very excited. Very excited for you.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, guys.
Where
Ladies.
can people find more about you?
Primarily on Instagram. That's kind of my bread and butter over there. Just at Becky_Weiss_. That's where I do everything. Instagram doesn't seem to shadow ban me these days, so I should be fairly easy to find.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Great to meet you.
You as well. Thank you.